his priority is his logic rather than how she's actually feeling as his woman.
Men shouldn't abandon logic because it hurts your feelings. Describe, let's talk about it.
This guy recently said that logical men win the argument, but they lose the connection. And I cannot tell you how true that is. Like, the more unheard a woman feels, the more she'll start to disrespect that man, because she'll feel as though his priority is his logic rather than how she's actually feeling as his woman. I'd like to add to this though. Emotional women win some form of validation, but lose his desire to help her. And as women, we often feel right in our emotional isms, in our emotional arguments, and that loses men as well. And I don't think that we really pay attention to that. Men lose us with their logic, but we lose men with our emotions. We both end up losing. The alternative is to kind of stop in the process of doing the very thing that you feel like doing. Some men, I've noticed, really do use logic as deflection from what a woman's emotional needs are, that he knows her needs are, but he does not feel sufficient to fulfill them, or he feels he just cannot fulfill them. He can't do enough because she really is irrational. She is a little bit delusional in her thinking. That is a thing. But guys do use logic as deflection sometimes to prevent going deeper, because they have not gained those emotional skills to do that. The women have not gained the skill to pull back emotion. Men have been taught to hold back their emotions their whole lives. Women have not been taught to hold back our emotions. We're taught to let it out. And therefore, if I'm letting it out, I'm doing what I've been taught to do. So why are you not validating that? That is the issue with women in our emotional battles, where we lose our men's attempt to help us. Sometimes we sense the deflection, but sometimes it's just our men trying to push for resolve in the only way that they know how. And I think if we can pull back and just continue to respect each other, then we can build.
I think you start here. The problem is you expect your men to talk to you like as your girlfriends do, where they can lean into the emotional side and follow you down that rabbit hole without ever kind of pulling back and trying to tell you, no, this isn't even worth considering. You think men are deflecting when they use logic. No, they're looking and saying, if there's 5 different paths we can walk down, but only one of them is going to get us towards a result, only one of them is the actual thing closest to reality, I don't need to explore the other 4. You think this is us not having the capacity or tools not to explore this. No, we're just saying this is futile. This makes no sense. Why waste the time, the energy, the resources, whatever? We can just walk down the path that's at least the closest things to truth and reality. You keep expecting men to feed into your delusion and call it emotional validation. You know yourself. You can get off the reins. You can go as far off the reservation as you want emotionally. You know, sometimes it's swayed by things that have nothing to do with you. It has, well, you know, your hormones have everything to do with you, but you attribute some of these things to the stars. So when men don't go down that path, it's not because they lack the tools. They just don't see that it makes any sense. We keep pretending as if men just don't have the emotional capability. You weren't taught to be this way. No, men understand that when you lean too much into your emotions, you start deriving from, deviating from the path of logic, of the thing that's closest to reality. And then when you're in the throes of that, a lot of men, especially when you grow up without your fathers in a home, you lean into that emotionality, and what happens? You get angry. Emotions are very quick to lean towards these things in men because it's testosterone. Then you get violent. But men early on are taught, no, you have to adhere to logic. You may feel one way. That's cool. You can acknowledge that. You can sit in that. When it comes time to your actions, they have to be steeped in logic. They have to be. A woman becoming delusional can sometimes lead to violence. Easily, yes. You see plenty of times of it. Plenty of examples of it. However, a man getting into his emotion can often lead to violence. It's not just violence for him, it's violence for the entire community. Any type of slight becomes a bigger issue towards your feeling, towards your identity, towards your honor. So men understand logic wins the day. Besides, we're always thinking about, does this make sense? Is this closer to reality? We're focus driven, where we're trying to get the results. Not that we're just trying to explore how things feel, where we can get thrown off the path and never get towards anything, towards a resolution. You think about it, how many times you're in a conversation with your significant other, man or woman, and you're trying to talk about an issue, a topic, and you get sidetracked because now you're chasing her emotion. Now you're trying to get back on this. Well, you said this and this made me feel like this, and this then that, and it stops becoming closer to reality. When you tell your man you don't even love me, despite the months or years of examples of him showing his love in his gratitude for it, he shows you day in, day out, but right then and there, you don't feel good. You don't feel loved. So you say things that make us look and say, but what about all of this? You don't like that I didn't take out the trash. So now your next statement is an emotional one. You have the expectation that men are supposed to follow you in that. No. This is a thing that where women have to come together and say, yeah, we know better, because we can exhibit at times when we know we're feeling emotional, yet we don't go off the handle. We don't crash out. We stick to our guns, and we understand there's larger consequences for this behavior. So thinking that men simply have to become more, no, they're not. We should all strive to be closer to reality. You can't feel like you have $1 million and you don't have anything close to that. It doesn't matter how much you feel about that. It doesn't matter how much you want or desire it. You can be as delusional as you want to be, but some things are grounded in fact. You can think about how we got to where we are in society, where we started to abandon fact over feeling. Well, this feels good, so I need to be validated. I feel attacked, so I need to be defended. When reality still remained reality. For a good 5 to 8 years, we were off the rocker when talking about how everyone feels rather than, we have to stay on task. Logic, reality, that's the closest thing. But it's not saying that logic is solely the purview of men. Plenty of women are capable of logic, same way men are capable of emotion. We just have a society that for such a long time, and it continues, it keeps validating and making it seem like your individual emotion is the most prominent, most important thing in the world, not your world, the world. So we have to adhere to how you feel about a subject. That's when you see people, inserting themselves into situations that have nothing to do with them, but they overheard it and they feel offended. So now the entire party has to stop so we can actually address you who had nothing to do with this actually, this actual incident. This has become the norm in our society. But you think that men are supposed to, all right, I'd rather keep the peace in this house and lie to you and just forego what the truth is. And the truth is, we've done that for such a long time. That's one of the reasons why things are in such a state it is now. When we tell you the truth and then you respond emotionally because the truth hurt, or you didn't like the way it was said, you didn't like the context, you didn't like the way he didn't sugarcoat enough, and now you're chasing the emotions. Yet we had a 2-line conversation, but we talked for 2 hours. We talked all about these other issues, and you link this and link this and you link this. Emotion is very easy, right? It's very easy to link, disparate ideas and feelings together. They all fall under one banner, and you can connect this or that, yet they're separated by 5 years. You said this before, and then you did this 5 years later. And you think this makes sense. You think this is logical, but to you in that moment, it is. It's emotionally validating. Men, we just have to stop and say, that doesn't make any sense. When you're ready to have a rational conversation, I can hold space for that, but I cannot follow you on this path. You can feel free to be as wild as you want, but if we cannot have this conversation in a logical, designated manner, then we don't have any business being together, because it doesn't just stop at that little thing. This becomes a pattern of behavior. If you can behave yourself, and this goes to both genders, if we can behave ourselves when there's money on the line, when there's status on the line, when there is actual consequence, we seem to be control ourselves just fine. You say something at work, your boss doesn't like you, get reprimanded, you don't flip out. You don't turn over the desk. You don't do anything like that. You take that emotion, you say, okay, I've got to deal with this. The reality is I'm coming up short. The reality is if I don't turn this around, I'm going to lose my livelihood. All of a sudden, it's not impossible for you to have rational conversations, to know where your emotion is and where reality is. Except when it seems like we get with our significant other, then that's out the window. Listen, if you disagree, let me know down in the comments below. If you see other videos on your screen, check those out. Let me know your thoughts about those in those videos. And of course, if you listen to my voice now, if you have not subscribed, I think you should. You know, we're just trying to build something dope. I'll see you in the next one.